Hello. Thank you very much, David, for the beautiful music. I would also like to introduce at this time Patrick Galasso, who is our ASL interpreter. We are here for Vigil for Ivory McCuen. My name is Merri Kitty Carlisle, and David Oakes is our co-chair to the ATF. My pronouns are she, her. And David, would you like to say some welcoming words?
Yes, I would like to make sure that everyone feels welcome. Our church provided a lot of support, but we are welcoming everyone. And there are several co-sponsors at the end. We'll list them, but everyone is welcome. This is my wonderful wife, Deborah. And like Kitty said, with the accessibility task force to help our church be accessible, only 4 blocks from our church, Ivory died homeless of exposure only a few blocks from here. We're doing a virtual vigil because of COVID, but perhaps this, well, for the rest of my life, I will do what I can to help Ivory's story get out.
Yes.
Yes. And we welcome everybody, but the tradition in our Unitarian Universalist church is to begin with a candle lighting, a chalice, and a wonderful friend and ally will do that, Reverend Phillip Schulman from Texas.
As we light the flame in the chalice, we invoke the spirit of love to be with us in this vigil honoring Ivory McCuen. this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Welcome to this service of remembrance of the life of Ivory McCuen, a life that was cut short, not just by the elements of exposure, but by the failure of agencies and systems that are to care for those who, for whatever reason, are not able to provide their own self-care. Ivory's death shook not only those who live with mental health issues, but those who are unhoused. Her death left many who live on our societal edges to wonder, am I next? The reality is that our society does not want to have to deal with persons living lives accompanied by mental health issues or homelessness. Did Ivory burn bridges of support from those who loved her? Yes. Was her creative spirit at times lost to her mind's twists and turns? Yes. But in the end, it wasn't family or friends who failed Ivory. It was our societal attitudes. Even one life lost to mental health crisis is one too many. May those of us who have gathered here today, those who thrive and those who survive, not forget the flame that was Ivory's spirit. May her flame transform hearts of indifference and awaken actions of care and compassion. We gather in sorrow, we gather in grief, we gather to remember Ivory McCuen in images and in silence. I invite you at this time to remember Ivory, to ponder these images in silence. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce to all of you Ivory's sister, Breezy Smith.
Thank you. Let's take a moment to gather myself. Thank you for honoring her. I just want to start by letting you guys know how what a free spirit my sister was, always has been, always will be. She was just the greatest blessing of my life, really. One of the greatest blessings. She had came into this world just determined and again, a free spirit. She had wild curly hair and piercing blue eyes, and you looked long enough in her eyes, you could see the spirit that she had inside of her. She was very determined. It's a very determined girl, and it's very hard for me this wasn't supposed to be how things were gonna end, because she believed in herself and she wanted to make a difference in this world, and she fought very hard and very long as I can remember. She always seemed to pull it together and come out ahead. She loved adventures. She loved the outdoors, animals, anything with nature. And she believed there was good in everybody and everything. She had a passion for music, any kind of music. It just touched her soul. And when she sang, it was beautiful, and it was with so much passion. She was a very passionate person. Anybody that she's ever met, she left a mark in their memory. She struggled. It's hard. She was my best friend. She was my little sister. Excuse me. And I took care of her until I couldn't anymore. And I only wish and will do whatever I can moving forward to help others not to have this be their story. When things were good, they were really good. And I know that you may be strangers to her or to I, but you're not a stranger to what mental health looks like, and you're not a stranger to what humanity looks like. And that is the most moving position that one can be in. And so now we gather to remember that and honor that and move forward. And it's something that she wanted to do, that she was very passionate about doing. Weeks before her passing, I had an opportunity to talk to her almost every day for 2 weeks. And it was beautiful. And she would call and she would sing, and she was ready. And this was going to be it. This was going to be her time. And she was going to help others, and she was going to tell her story. And she was adamant about that. when we talk about resources and we talk about helping others and family and friends, and when we're kind of at an end, what do we, what do we do next? Where's that safe place? Who are those safe people? Ivory couldn't be forced to do anything. She had to be a free will and a free spirit. And it had to be right. She was, had very clouded emotions and a lot of mental health instabilities. And she knew and she was aware of that. And that's probably one of the saddest things, because incarceration for history of mental health and things, people are acting out, doing these things because they're in a mental health crisis. And because the last couple of years, she couldn't keep an ID, or she couldn't keep a job, or no matter how we try to reach out and help, no matter how many room shares or hotels or apartments or all these things that you think that monetarily or assistedly would help somebody, it's just not enough. So she would be put back on the streets, and a caseworker would reach out to me, or I would reach out to them. Oh, she's been put on a list. I have no way to know where she's at. I have no way to send her things. So this is the kind of cycle that we see. And I know it touches the lives of so many. And the biggest reason why we're here is to honor not only her, but others suffering. I can't imagine but I know what it's like to watch somebody you love so much she would laugh and laugh and laugh at the most horrible things. She thought that oh, she just had a horrible sense of humor. And I miss that. What I miss most is that all I ever wanted for her is to feel the joy in life and in motherhood. She has 2 beautiful sons. It's amazing. I see her and them. And sadly, she came to a point with her fight that she didn't want her sons to ever see her in a condition they didn't deserve to see her in, a condition that she couldn't be the best that she felt like she could be. There are just so many things, and it's so tragic, and I have a hard time I've been having a hard time for a couple of years. And I could go on and on and on about how wonderful she was. She was so crafty. We called her Little MacGyver. The Ivory McCuen. She could make something out of anything. It was pretty amazing. And a couple years ago, she was gonna hike the Pacific Trail. And that picture of her with the backpack and her guitar, and she was constantly trying to learn how to play the guitar. I think she's been trying to learn how to play the guitar since she was 8 years old. You know, we just, it didn't matter because it was beautiful. Anything that she tried to do was just beautiful. So she had plans. She was going to hike the Pacific Trail, and she had all the check-ins, and she had bags packed, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I have a new baby. I wish I could be a part of this with you. And then 2 days later, she called me. She's like, well, I made it outside of Eugene. I'm back. But you know what? She tried. And that was the thing about my sister. She was always trying. She never gave up. And it breaks my heart. She had so much more to give. And with that being said, I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things. All these things running through my mind that I wanted to say that I desperately so needed to say. But I guess the one thing, they say that when you lose somebody so close to you, a part of you is missing, but I would do it a million times over as long as I know that part of me is with her, because she will always be with me. And so I'm here today because of the love and the support of David reaching out to me and the community, and moving forward. In her honor and her strength, and she was so brave. I want to embody that and continue what this journey has to offer. And again, I'm overcome with gratitude, and I know she is too. This is beautiful. Thank you.
And I would like to introduce Eric Jackson, or simply Jackson, to speak a little bit about Breezy. Yep. Ivory. Sorry.
Too breezy. So I can understand where that would come from. Breezy, I was going to do something different than I'm about to do, and I'm about to do it just because of the things that you said, and the things that Reverend Lois said. I was going to do a love fear poem that I wrote when I was a kid, but I'm going into a different place, and I'm going to read something that I just posted, and I was mulling it over, but you guys made it hit home. Little insanity surrounding homelessness. Not that the others are not any less insane, the other problems. The city, the county, the state, and the federal government right now doesn't want to solve homelessness. They want to leave it just as it is. How I figure this? Because it employs $60,000 to $80,000 a year people that further gentrify cities all over the country. They even go so far as to recruit master's degrees and sociology degrees for these positions that are out there. And they recruit nationwide to come to beautiful Eugene, to come. You're close to the Cascadia, you're close to the ocean at Florence and Newport. And just to think about that, and think about the fact that they still don't have a clue, and that we could lose somebody like your sister that was bright. She was a bright light. I noticed her because she was a bright light. I notice everybody that's around Whitebird. I notice anybody that's around me, anybody that's around Saturday Market in Eugene. And she was around and she was bright. And we're all a little defiant to feeling comfortable at home, because we are at home out here. And if we leave the people that we're with, we feel like we're abandoning them. And it was a terrible thing that happened. And hearing about it was even worse because you just know that it could be you. You know that it could be you anytime. I set a tent on fire once. I was inside the tent because I fell asleep. I could have died. Thankfully, I had a community of people at the 99 camp that one person pulled me out, and it was great. Pick up, get out. Got a little burned. The funniest part about this is going back to this other. The funniest part is that they've been doing this and teaching this correction and family services and everything connected to anything that's part of the homeless problem. They've been doing it for dozens and dozens and dozens of years. So somebody that gets a master's degree today has been studying school for the past 7, 8, 9, 10 years to get to where they're going. And they could have worked with homeless people their entire lives, but never are they going to be more qualified to pull the safety nets that are there, that are necessary, than we are as the people that are on the street. And they give no possibility for that because you don't have a master's degree, because you don't have the credentials. So the insane part is, what is the definition of insanity? We all know. But how does that change anything to do the same thing over and over and over again and get the same results, if not it intending to leave the problem as is? And then we can bring more people in for more problems. So they spend money on jail beds. Where did I leave off? It's insanity that a place is looking for minimum qualifications for a job position to help the homeless. Minimum qualifications. How about minimum qualifications? Put somebody on the payroll, get somebody a full-time job with health benefits, insurance and vacation benefits, pension possibilities if they stay long enough. If they can drag this out another 20 years, then they can have pension possibilities. It's insane. It's insane. So if you don't go to government and say something at this point, because if Tom Egan could have seen this himself and been here, it would be Ivory McCuen warming centers, and he would be the one jumping up and down like we all should be consistently. And we really need to make it happen. You should have somebody that has a minimum of a felony on the streets for a minimum of a year, if not chronically homeless. But the felony, that should be older than 10 years. And the year would need to be this year, not 10 years ago. They would need to have come out of some addiction, whatever addiction they may have had. It doesn't matter what it was, but they knew they took hold of it. My hardest thing was quitting smoking cigarettes. I couldn't do it. It was something I just failed at. I've tried every drug out there except ayahuasca and peyote. She would have been fun to do either of them with, or mushrooms. At some point, we have to have been shaking an addiction so that we know that somebody is out there going through. I walked through 2.5 feet of snow to get to a liquor store because I knew that they weren't going to be open tomorrow. And I looked at myself in the mirror and said, "You're insane, stop this." And I did. I needed help. Chantix, it's a drug that worked for me. And it gave me good, vivid dreams. If we are going to do something to fix this, we have to really do something to fix this. I can't fix it alone. Anything that I've done here in Eugene for the past 3 years is just running on the coattails of everybody else that has been doing it for 3 decades in this city. 3 decades.
4.
Somebody from outside the tent just yelled 4 decades. 4 decades. I have 2 people sitting outside as well, listening. And we just need to be in a whole different place. And they need to put 80% of the people that are on the streets employed in their community where they call home, where they are part of the community, where they consider the rest of the community their home. They don't consider this is not the home. This is just a piece of vinyl. Those are just bricks and sticks. It's just a wall. The people that stay in cars, the people that stay in RVs, the people that travel, they have a right to be human and not be in flight or fright all the time. Like frightened of everything all the time, because we could die anytime. Anytime I did the protest, I tried to make sure that we were not in the direction of traffic. I made sure if we were in the direction of traffic, there was a big pole or a tree so that we didn't get killed by somebody running us over. It's not supposed to be that way. And all the cities have to do, and this is not just here, this is in America, all the cities have to do based on what the Supreme Court asked and what the Ninth Circuit asked in Martin case in September of 2018. September 2018, all people should have a space to be that is safe. Since September of 2018, it's unacceptable that our government does this. It's absolutely atrocious. And it's not just here. And I don't just blame here. I blame here in the sense of the word that, one, there were less warming centers this year. I do blame that. And there is no mental health help versus jail. I'm to understand that prior to the years that whenever they closed the mental health facilities in the state, or most of them, that they would send runaway kids straight to the mental health facility. Now you can't even send somebody that needs it without all sorts of problems. And most of the time it's with police. And police should not be intervening. Police should not be the course of anybody's any day, because it rips you from the core. I have 75 tickets in 1 year, 2019. February 2019 to February 2020, 75 tickets. How many police interactions is that? How many did Breezy, how many did Ivory have? See, I did the same thing she did, because we're talking with you. We're here for you. I think that life after death is the speaking of the other person and bringing it up. So no matter how long you're gone, if somebody brings you up in conversation, that tends to be your life after death. But I would be down, Breezy, for doing anything with you to support your direction. I have a specific direction that I'm going, looking for a camp with people that I've been working with for the past 2 years. And I have asked Breezy if she can sing, please. Who is out there? Is that Malcolm? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know who. I'll ask somebody if Malika could sing. She said ask Breezy, so I imagine that's ask Breezy. But there's a moderator. I can move the computer to you if I need to, if you need to add to the panel, if they are okay with that. I have two people outside, so one homeless person and one homeless helper. And Malika, the homeless helper, wanted to say hi, but she can do that when I'm done. And I just want to say that your sister was bright. She was a bright character. And when I say character, everybody out here to me as a kid, I'm 54, I'm a kid. She was bright. She was brightly lit. She was everything. And she definitely wanted to help. Like, that was the brief thing that we did talk about, her wanting to help. And she wanted to help. Like, telling the story, whether they like it or not, they need to hear it. And they need to hear that 80% of the solution needs to come from us out here. If I want to help this, I'm not moving inside. I applied to the county to be homeless services supervisor. They said I was not qualified to even get an interview, which I found funny. I was a business person for the first 47 years.
Thanks, Eric.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Dave and Breezy.
My name is Chuck Areford, and I didn't know Ivory, but I worked with emotionally distressed individuals, maybe like Ivory, in a community mental health setting for my entire career. Most of us are aware of the shortcomings of the mental health system. Breezy, like the cycle you talked about, I've seen it over and over. So there are many shortcomings, but most importantly, bottom line, the mental health system fails to keep its participants alive. Individuals in the mental health system experience a 20 to 30 year reduction in life expectancy. I witnessed way too many tragic deaths and attended way too many funerals. I did a little research to see if this has changed in the few years since I retired. And you have to type in a lot of words to find this information. It's not easy to find. They continue to cover up this atrocious mortality rate. Nothing has changed. They do the same thing over and over, like you were saying, Jackson. And because community mental health relies on medical interventions that are not only ineffective, but tremendously expensive, the system can only serve a fraction of the people who need support. Often someone will seek treatment at their low point and then be told it'll be weeks before they can be seen, if at all. We can all appreciate the most important ingredient in emotional stability is having a place to call home. Lane County opened a new housing program. It's called the Commons, and it's based on a housing first model, which regards housing as a basic right without regard to participation in mental health treatment. So without coercion. 51 individuals who've had difficulty finding and staying in housing can live there. They say it's hard to be evicted. It's the kind of program that we would have designed ourselves. And if Ivory could have found such a program, she may still be with us today. I hope that Ivory rests in peace while her legacy helps spur the rest of us on to continue our work to change the mental health system, to support those with emotional distress, and find a decent home for everyone. Next up is Haciak. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. This is Haciak. Ivory's passing as it happened was an end product of discrimination and societal neglect. But our recovery values embrace diversity and inclusion in line with the beautiful Unitarian Universalist principle of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. I will share this poem reflecting on the principle of inherent worth and dignity by Andrew Quixley. The author uses the word man as a synonym for humankind. So please indulge me in looking past that wording to capture the essence of the spiritual reflection. The mortal sin. Who nature shapes as one in 10 has no less right than other men to live and love and be carefree, not hide as pious men decree. For no such law was ever right. The 9 and 10 don't own the night. Our world is what we say it is. It's time we said it's also his. Those 1 and 10 who bathed in shame, whose love had dared not speak its name, but stand now proud of who they are, reminding us we've come so far. But farther yet, we still must go. Let us not rest until we know that every corner of this earth counts every man of equal worth. So let the 9 be joined with 1, a man no less, a mother's son, and never let dividers win, for therein lies the mortal sin. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce Rachel Levy.
Hi, my name is Rachel Levy. I'm a social worker. I live in Portland. I'm also with the group Rethinking Psychiatry. That's how I know David. We're kind of longtime allies of MindFreedom and have a similar mission and values. I didn't know Ivory. I'm kind of hearing bits and pieces. It sounds like she was a really amazing and beloved person. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to know her. And it's heartbreaking what happened. Like I said, I'm hearing kind of bits and pieces of the story. But even though every situation is different, this kind of story is all too common, and it's just horrifying that we let this happen in our society. I keep thinking of something that makes me really angry, which is I only learned about this as an adult, but apparently in in the 1980s when I was a kid, before Ivory was born. Apparently then President Reagan said that, was asked about the even then skyrocketing number of people who were homeless, and he said that most people who were homeless, quote, chose to be so. It's like, why? Nobody would ever choose to be in this position. It's so infuriating that anyone, especially people in power, have that viewpoint. Nobody would ever choose for something like this to happen. And earlier today, Rethinking Psychiatry had an event. We had some people talk from a program called the Soteria House. There's an active one in Vermont. It's a therapeutic community residence. There are only a handful of them in the world. There have been several others that have had to close their doors because of a lot of opposition and lack of funding and lack of support, and that upsets me. I think this whole situation speaks to the need of programs like that, programs that are about being with the person and helping them through whatever they're going through, and going away from this medical model that clearly doesn't work and clearly doesn't serve people. And yeah, I've worked in community mental health too, and I definitely would echo what Chuck said. I definitely had very similar experiences working in that system. The system we have just does not work and has failed so many people. So, and I'll give the floor back to Breezy. Thank you so much. I can't imagine how difficult and painful this must be, but I really appreciate you being here and sharing your story. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything that was said today, and the knowledge. And that's such a wonderful thing. And it's a wonderful thing when we choose what we should do with that. And given the opportunity just to hear others speak and experience and life has been very eye-opening in this last, 45 minutes, if you will. Just the need and the lack of humanity and human rights and love and understanding and empathy and all these things that were my sister. This is what this is about, and moving forward should always be about. My sister would do anything for anybody. She would walk up to a complete stranger to simply compliment them. All these things are important. We're all important. And obviously, lived experience, personal experience. Mental health it's a crisis. And I guess I just don't have the words to express how important it is, how important it's always been. Yes, there's something, it's broken, it's flawed, it's ignored, it's changed. There's an agenda. This was part of her life and her struggle and her history. And no matter how many times she tried to revisit and being a young child and seeking therapy and going to girls' homes, or later, let's put her here, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm guilty too for never asking her. but always telling her. And I know that that's the lesson learned too late. And I don't think that a lot of folks get that opportunity. I too have struggled. I mean, we've all had struggles, I'm sure. And I just can't see how this is it. I just can't. And thank you, everybody, again. My deepest gratitude.
Now, David Rogers is going to give us a little more music.
Okay. This time I'm going to sing a song for you. Everybody hear me okay? Okay, all right. So this song is called Die Gedanken sind frei, and the translation from German is thoughts are free, or the thoughts are free, literally. And I perform this song every year at the Oregon Country Fair for a series of years at Community Village in our special Mind Freedom presentation that I and Chrissy Pearsall, as well as, of course, David Oakes, have been doing year after year. And it's a German freedom song. Its origins are at peasant revolts, I believe, hundreds of years ago. And the song has been translated into English except for the title. Instead of finger picking or classical guitar, this is going to be in my folky style of guitar playing. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts freely flower. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts give me power. No scholar can map them, no hunter can trap them, no one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei, no one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. I think as I please, and this gives me pleasure. My conscience decrees, this right I must treasure. My thoughts will not cater to duke or dictator, no one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei, no one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. And should tyrants take me and throw me in prison, my thoughts will burst free like blossoms in season. Foundations will crumble and structures will tumble and free people will cry. Die Gedanken sind frei and free people will cry. Die Gedanken sind frei.
Thank you, David. And I have a short little piece here that kind of speaks to the same thing that Jackson was speaking to. For many, many years, back when I was a counselor in 1990s, we would try to find mental health support for people, and it just wasn't there. So everybody kept talking about the homeless problem. And the problem with that phrase is that it's not the homeless problem. It's a problem that people don't have houses, they don't have shelter. We think of it in the wrong way. We think that everybody needs to be in a little box with 4 walls. And For some people, that just doesn't work. So it's a part of changing our own thinking to find what sort of shelter works for the person rather than trying to remake the person into the shelter. This is a little piece from Carlisle, who was writing at the turn of the 20th century. So this was known for much longer than we realize. It's called On Houses. It's from the book, The Prophet. And then a mason came forth and said, "Speak to us of houses." And he answered and said, "Build of your imaginings a bower in the wilderness, ere you build a house within the city walls. For even as you have homecomings in your twilight, so has the wanderer in you, the ever distant and alone. Your house is your larger body. It grows in the sun and sleeps in the stillness of the night. It is not dreamless. Does not your house dream? And dreaming, leave the city for a grove or a hilltop. Would that I could gather your houses into my hand and like a sower, scatter them in forest and meadow. Would the valleys were your streets and the green paths your alleys, that you might seek one another through vineyards and come with a fragrance of the earth in your garments. But you children of space, you restless in rest, you shall not be trapped nor tamed. Your house shall not be an anchor, but a mast. It shall not be a glistening film that covers a wound, but an eyelid that guards the eye. You shall not fold your wings that you may pass through doors, nor bend your heads that they may strike not against a ceiling, nor fear to breathe lest walls should crack and fall down. You shall not dwell in tombs made by the dead for the living. And though of magnificence and splendor your house shall not hold your secret nor shelter your longing. For that which is boundless in you abides in the mansion of the sky, whose door is the morning mist, and whose windows are the songs and the silences of night. David, do you have some words?
Yes, briefly, Ivory had 2 sons, and they will eventually see this. And I want you both to know that we support you. And we're part of a social change movement of people with disabilities, mental health consumers, psychiatric survivors that goes back for decades internationally. That's hardly known, but we're here. So please, if you need anything, talk to your wonderful Aunt Breezy. The last few months, I've talked to your Aunt Breezy a number of times. I love that your mother really supported nature and art, because what I have learned after 45 years in this work is that generally modern humanity has one of the worst disabilities ever. We need, and I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure many of you, we need non-violent global revolution. Revolution. Even saying the word can be a little healing. So we Breezy really wanted the chance for participants, audience members, to share thoughts and feelings and use the chat function on Zoom. I'm sorry, Facebook will do later, but if you want to share thoughts or feelings, write in chat and Merri Kitty will repeat you.
Okay, so we have some already in the chat. So I'll start reading them and people can continue to add to it. Jackson writes, words to live by. In life, we are given two choices: to be governed by love or by fear. Love sees greatness in all things. Fear discriminates and separates always. Love allows us to enjoy the now. Fear causes us to live in the past and the clouds the present. Love allows us to express ourselves openly. Love allows pain to subside. With love, things never need to see an end, only a new direction to travel. Without love, we are not allowing ourselves our humanity. Haciak added a poem called The Mortal Sin. Who nature shapes as 1 in 10 has no less right than other men to live and love and be carefree. This is what he said in the chat while he was, he wrote it down for us so that we could have it. Chelsea says much love. And Jennifer Hackett says, thank you for helping those of us who didn't get to meet Ivory to know her today. She will be missed and her life mattered. Malka asks if she could sing, if that would be okay. I think we could give a couple minutes for that.
The webinar format, if someone is a participant with a login, they could, but if they're not, they cannot.
Oh yeah, we can't, that's right. We're the only ones that can speak because we have a login, a separate login. So we're sorry, Malka. If you'd like to
she's at my place,
right
guys.
here.
She's at my place.
I'm right here.
Okay.
Very simple. Yes, thank you. Hi,
right.
everyone.
No, I don't know if you're going yet.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, my name is Malka. I help on the streets with trauma work and basic get things for people and feed them every day, and just kind of the people that aren't in camps, the tentacles, like they're out in the middle of nowhere. I currently know at least 12 severe persistent mentally ill folks that I follow, and hopefully I get to see them once a week, like that for me. And that may be once a month. That maybe I'm asking a lot of people and a lot of questions and then wondering, but I really just wanted to sing. So is that okay, Breezy? I love you.
Go ahead.
Okay, and this is like just to remind us that every one of us like on the streets or we're all children. We're somebody's child. I think technically that's true. Is that somebody's child? I'm a woman. Okay, that's how that works. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you. Deborah, you could chime in if you want. They come through you, but they are not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You can give them your love, but not your thoughts. They have their own thoughts. They have their own thoughts. You can house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the place of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You can try, oh, wait, not even in your dreams. Oh my God, drawing a blank. You can, Deb's there, she knows it. You can, oh. This is like On Children, Khalil Gibran. Sorry, I'm just losing that. You can try to, oh Jesus, the last end of it.
Well, we
Anyway,
understand
thank you.
sentiment.
It
Thank
was perfect.
Sort of blew the end of it, but have a beautiful day, folks. And
Thanks.
it's
Thank
hot
you.
out there, getting water to people.
And to her little boy, stay strong, kids. You guys are great. Your mom was a bright sunshine
Yeah.
in those days.
For sure. Here you go, babe.
Okay, we've also got Carrie Porter has written, thank you, Breezy, for being an amazing big sister, ready to lift up your sister and bring people together and have hard conversations that help us know that we have so much societal changes that are needed. It's true, your sister did have a bright light in her. I will remember her always. This is from Steve. So terribly sorry for your loss, Breezy. Thank you for your beautiful tribute to your sister. And thank you, David and Kitty and everyone who made this possible today. Ivory McCuen, presente. And this is from Chuck. Thanks, everyone. This vigil really touched my heart. From Sandy Godwick, oh my, I write from Olympic Peninsula in Washington. I write as someone who's lived with emotional distress and disability. Your sister's story has hit my heart deeply. I hope that our growing UU mental health network can take on the realities shared by your sister's story and raise far more than awareness, that we can raise change. And Breezy has written, thank you, everyone. And Rachel Levy has written, thank you, everyone. The story is heartbreaking and it highlights the need for better options. All right, thank you, folks. At this time, I will call upon Reverend Phillip to extinguish the chalice.
Before we extinguish the chalice, I invite everyone to join in a spirit of prayer, and in whatever way you understand that, whatever way or whatever extent is meaningful for you, as I offer my words. Blessed of all creation, Spirit of life, we give thanks for the blessings that we receive and continue to receive by having known Ivory. We know there is pain and a sense of loss that is likely to linger into the future. We pray that those who feel this loss will be with each other in a way that comforts and heals. We cherish the vision held by this faith community that nurtures and inspires us to keep on believing and working toward a world that sees and respects the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We strive for greater knowledge of how to assist all who suffer with mental and emotional distress and conditions created or made worse by hardship, trauma, and marginalization. We pray for all who have trouble making it in this world. Source of all, ancestors and future generations, you call us to respect and serve life. Help us also to know love and joy on this journey. Amen. Blessed be, may it be so. As we extinguish the flame in the chalice, we send the spirit of love out into the world. We carry memory of our friend and relative Ivory. By doing good works for justice and healing, we will honor her and continue the blessing we have received together. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Thank you. And thank you all. We have a list of participants, including Kat, who did tech. We have a list of panelists there. Thank you all for making this real. And a lot of folks really pulled together and supported this. Thank you. Merri.
I just thank you very much to everybody for participating. And I'm hoping that we can help be a resource for folks who are in need.
And we have also a list of community partners that helped us. So this is beyond our church. Really a group. We have, for instance, CareWorks, MindFreedom Oregon, Rethinking Psychiatry, Hotchu Institute, many groups. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but we have a list. I'm sorry, I thought we would show the list of, well, there they are. Oh, thank you, Kat. That helps my memory. Yes, thank you. Oregonians with lived experience, Jack, spoke from them, Extinction Rebellion, Pettit versus Pettican. Thank you all. The Accessibility Task Force meets every last Sunday. You're welcome. We have an email address to stay in touch with us. And the next slide will ask you to email to us and stay in touch with future events about Ivory Peer. We are all peers of Ivory. Breezy told me that Ivory wanted to study mental health counseling and become a peer mental health counselor. This is a real job. There are now hundreds of mental health consumer peers employed nationally. A huge change from decades ago. So Ivory, you would have been a wonderful mental health consumer peer, and you are, even though I never met you, you're a wonderful peer. So please email us and we'll keep you in touch with future events to honor Ivory, ivorypeer@gmail.com. Thanks.